Hello! This video is Ron Paul for president, man. I like Ron Paul, and I'm going to give a little quick video why. I'm not really that good at politics. I haven't really been following it, but I'm going to start following it now because I really like watching Ron Paul. And now, since I'm going to start watching Ron Paul, I think I'm going to start watching all those other candidates too, but Ron Paul's different. A lot of people these days are like, if Barack Obama turned out to be another guy who just hates the marijuana smokers and wants to assassinate American citizens and attack other countries, then if he couldn't be real, then nobody is. Nope. It's like, wait, Ron Paul. Yeah, I like Ron Paul because every time I watch Ron Paul, he explains stuff. He's like a real person. He's out there. He gives like a 50-minute speech, and he gives an actual speech, a lecture about economics and everything. And when he talks about all of his political issues, I agree with everything. I guess he's pro-life, so he thinks abortion should be illegal, which is kind of interesting because he thinks that government should stay out of everything, but he thinks that the government should make a law against throwing people in jail for trying to get abortions and make it illegal. But and I don't agree with that. I think abortion should be legal. I'm a pro-choicer. But that's kind of a minor issue, dude. We've got a lot more issues. We've got a lot of issues more important than that. I mean, it's kind of an important issue because we don't want kids growing up whose mamas didn't love them. But if we have a good country, then even if your mama didn't love you, you can still be a good person if you have opportunities. So, but yeah, as far as the issues that I agree with him on, yeah, it's like everything, like foreign policy. He wants to bring the troops back, and he's like all the ones back from Iran, from Germany. And he says it the same way that I would say it if I were a person, you know? Germany. World War II ended 60 years ago. Why do we still have troops there? South Korea. Yes, get those troops back. South Korea has like 100 times stronger GDP than North Korea. They could kick their asses. You know, Iraq. Yeah, get the troops out of Iraq, but not just Iraq, all the other countries around it. He's like a reporter, you know? A smart, educated reporter. Says it the same way I'd say it. And you can tell that he's the only one who really has that opinion because guys like Bill O'Reilly specifically doesn't want to vote for Ron Paul, but in the way that Bill O'Reilly says it, he's unelectable in my opinion as an American because he doesn't want to attack Iran. So. And yeah, if you hear in the debates, he's going at it with like a Bachman who wants to go after Iran. And then let's see, how about Cuba? He wants to do trade with Cuba. That's anti-establishment. All the other guys wants to keep on sanctioning Cuba. If Cuba has a oligarchical, over-controlled communist political system, that's their deal. It's another country. You have to respect other countries' ways of doing things. You don't want to like try to punish the people. It's not the people's fault that it's an oligarchy. That's the whole definition of an oligarchy, that people don't have any say. So don't punish the people. Let the people that trade with Cuba and let those people not have to drive around in cars from the 50s, not have to get in like tractor trailers instead of buses to drive all over the place and live on such cheap money. And so that then all the educated people try to defect out of there. So then you're only left with uneducated like people there. And it's not good for the country. You want to help the country and do trade with them, and that will actually help them leave their political system and not be an oligarchy. They'll be more educated, they'll be more affluent and have more power, and they can come out of there alone. We don't have to be. And we've done some despicable things. Back in like 1965, under the Kennedy administration, we tried to physically attack Cuba Bay of Pigs invasion. We tried to go in there with fighter jets and fucking bomb them and do a coup. And we failed. But we did that. We helped participate in a coup. And this is what Ron Paul talks about. How we go in and we install dictators in countries who we like, and then the dictator has to do what we say, and if they don't do what we say, then we attack the country. We did that with Chile, getting their elected guy out because he was a communist, and getting Pinochet in. We did that in 1956 in Iran, just because we didn't like their government. And he says we shouldn't be doing that, which is what I think just about what all the smart people agree on. I mean, it's obvious. You don't want to, because it pisses, this is what Ron Paul says, because it pisses the populace off at us. They see that we do that, so then they think that their dictatorial leaders are basically doing what we tell them to, and they're dictatorial because it's our fault because we got them in there. Not because that's just the culture of their country is to be dictatorial. So just leave them alone. Let them get their dictators in there. And don't do coups until like the whole world is for it, it's a waste of money. We could spend money on a lot more better things. So, and then what else? What's another issue? He wants to nuke five programs, 5 departments. The Department of Education, I'm sure the Department of Homeland Security. And I agree with that kind of stuff too. I think we should have a smaller government that doesn't cost as much money. We don't, and he even said 4 years ago, I don't know why he's not going on about that now, but get rid of the IRS. We definitely need to streamline the way we pay our taxes. It seems like the way that our government is these days is it's just so big and there's so many employees and stuff. It's like we're trying to provide jobs for people just for the sake of the people having the jobs. Like that's going to improve the economy. And you can improve the economy by printing more money. And that's another thing that Ron Paul's the only person who I've heard talk about. All the other people, the only thing you hear him talk about, we need to attack Iran. We need to drill here. Is that it? And then Ron Paul's here talking about actual issues. We need to, we don't need all of these departments that do all this kind of stuff. We could have just as good of education that's locally administered. Our communication is so good with the internet and everything that teachers can download lesson plans on their own. Teachers aren't morons. In fact, teachers have education degrees, Teaching is a fun job. It's a competitive job to get into. It's a good job. They get 3 months off a year. They don't need the Department of Education with all these employees telling them what they can and can't do. I was in school, and the teacher was always like, "Yeah, they told me I have to be done with this by this date, and I have to do this." And when you take the power away from the teacher, it kind of makes it's like, bleh. It's like you're making them retarded. Just like you're making a student retarded by telling the student what they can and can't learn. You're going to have to take this class and you're going to have to take that, but I don't want to. Too bad. Okay. Yeah, dude. We should nuke all those departments. I don't know what the other departments he said nuke. I can't remember. At least he remembers. I'm sure he remembers. Perry couldn't even remember. He's like, I'm going to get rid of 3 departments. There's this one and that one and hips. He can't remember the third one. It's like, oh my God. Retardation. But yeah, I should look on his website. I haven't been to his website yet, but see which of those departments. But yeah, make it smaller. And somebody asked him a question, campaign finance. Would you make laws against campaign finance? And he's like, no, that's freedom. That's the government getting their noses in the business. What we should do, to make politicians so that they're not corrupt and bought by big businesses, to reduce the power of the government, reduce the influence that the government has over the individual people. So get rid of all these regulations about, you can't grow a garden in your front lawn. People getting thrown in jail for that. A third of Americans under the age of 21, 23 have been arrested because there's just all these there's all these rules to break, and enforcing rules and making money off of fining people for breaking rules. That's not a streamlined, that's not an efficient way to collect revenue for your country. You collect revenue for your country by people spending money, buying stuff. Have all the taxes, sales taxes. And yeah, get rid of the IRS. We don't need that. It's so much of a pain in the ass. The IRS thinks I owe them $9,500. They say that I didn't pay my taxes in 2008. And so then they didn't realize that until like 2 months ago. I was expecting a $1,000 tax refund because my accountant screwed up from last year. So my mom got me another accountant for this year. And the new accountant redid the taxes and found out that the other accountant screwed up. And so she sent the other taxes in to get it fixed for just last year. But then somehow, I guess, all of a sudden the IRS finds out that I didn't pay my tax in 2008. So I send them my taxes from 2008, proving that I paid them, as well as a photocopy of a tax return check that they gave me for $15 that I never cashed from 2008, as well as the withdrawal from my bank from my tax of 2008 and my tax refund from that year of 2008. And I kept calling him. Nobody knew. There's all these different offices that I had to call. I had to send it to Fresno, and then I had to call the people in Indianapolis, and I had to call the people in Utah, the office in Utah. And then I keep calling, and they keep telling me, oh yeah, you still owe this. We haven't got it. We never got it. And then I called another office, and he's like, oh yeah, we have it. I don't know when we got it. They didn't tell me when they got it, and they're like, yeah, you still owe this much. And I was like, why? And he's like, yeah, we got what you sent us, but it was your taxes for 2010. You didn't send us the taxes of 2008. I was like, I could have sworn I sent you a tax 2008. So I asked my mom, because she's the one who's kind of helping me with this, because she's the one talking to the accountant. And she's like, no, that was the taxes of 2008. It was the amended taxes the amended in 2010. It wasn't the original. We don't want to send you the original. We got to keep the original for ourselves in case you guys lose it, just like you lost in 2008. He's like, yeah, that's not good enough. Even though it wasn't the taxes of 2008, I guess they couldn't see that. Usually we need the original from 2008, so I have to get my mom to send the original, or a photocopy of the original. And if they're like, photocopy's not good enough, we need the original, it's like, oh my God, well, what if you lose it? And then you need the original again, but I don't have it? Then I'm going to have to pay $9,500 because they've got all this interest. Not only do they, if they lose your taxes or if you to pay or whatever. So anyways, I asked another guy, and he refused to give me information because he didn't think it was really me. I mean, I spent a lot of time on the phone with these guys. And at one time I called him so many times, I had to call him 5 times because the button I get to get through, they just hung up on me. Like whoever designs the phone system at the IRS, they were like stoned or something when they did it, and they had some maze that just no matter what button you hit, it spoots you out and to hang up on you, or it puts you on hold, but you can't hear the hold sound, so you're just like have a silent signal for like ever, and then you eventually have to hang up yourself. So yeah. So anyways, I asked one of these guys, I go, why did they like, is this something that you've seen before where you guys lose taxes? And he's like, well, we get a lot of mail. We just get a lot of mail to sift through. Could be So anyways, that's not streamlined. It seems like they have the IRS just to provide jobs. And just having jobs ain't the way to do it, man. You can get money for the government not by punishing people for violating this, violating that, and not by making them produce all these jobs, pay some accountant $150 an hour to do some confusing ass thing, and then you have to do this, and all these problems can happen because you forgot to do that and do this and sign this, and oh my God, woo! That's not how you do it. And yeah, so anybody who talks about that, and I guess he wants to do that. And he was saying, yeah, he's even like kind of given a like lectures about different schools of economics. He's like, yes, you should listen to the Austrian school of economics. These people, and I don't even know what that is. I should study up on it a little bit. But he's like, yes, and don't do the Keynesian economics. That's bad. I guess Keynesian economics is. Yeah, he's griping about the printing of money. If we don't have money to pay for stuff, our taxes, whatever, you just print more money. But according to Ron Paul, if you print more money, you're basically getting rid of the middle class, because it means that the money that the middle class has, it gets smaller because there's more money now that has to be sharing with each other. So the dollar has to go down, has to be devaluation. And then all the money that gets printed gets to be used by the people who printed the money. So it's basically like you're not actually creating more money. You're just devaluing everybody else's money so that you have more money. And then they can spend it, loaning it to secret people. That's another thing. He wants to audit the Federal Reserve, and he's the only guy who says anything about that. But yeah, I remember, I think it was on Alex Jones's documentary. They were talking about, they actually showed a meeting that Ron Paul was having with Ben Bernanke. Maybe I'll put it in this video if I can find it on my computer. And Ron Paul's going, where did you put all that money? Because money goes missing. There's this one woman named Catherine Austin Fitts, who is the director of housing under George Bush Sr. and then like some other thing under Clinton. And she says that $17,000 a year goes missing from the government. Like nobody knows what happens to it. It's like, whoops. Like at the end of the day, the teller has to count the money and the change. It's like, whoopsies. $17,000 per person in America. So $17,000 times 350 million, or how many people are in America? It's like $1 trillion or whatever a year. Poof, where'd it go? Yeah, but it's like maybe like the Federal Reserve, they're printing it or doing something with it because. But anyways, yeah, Ron Paul's in there asking Ben Bernanke, yeah, like we'd like to know what you did with the money, what you do with it. He goes, oh, we did all kinds of stuff. We invested in some offshore accounts. Like I heard him say that. I'll put it in the video if I can find it. We put it in the offshore accounts and we invested in this. We've never lost a penny doing it. He's like, well, can we see? He's like, no, we can't let you see what we're doing it with it. Why? Because then that would interfere with what we're doing. Would you like it if I interfered with what you did? And he's like, well, we're not trying to interfere. We just want to know what you did with it. And if it turns out that you're doing something stupid, then maybe we wouldn't interfere. Well, that's not what he said, but. Yeah, so it seems like that's what we all really need to be doing. You know, we can't be living in a world of secrecy. We need to know what we're doing with the money. I just uploaded a video called, the new political parties are transparentists, and I forgot to talk about, a big thing about transparentalism is like, what's the money being spent on? You have to, that would be another campaign promise for a transparentalist. Yes, if you vote for me, I will list everywhere where the money's going and how much money is being spent on this and how much money is being spent on that all the time. I'll just put it right on there. And I'll do that because you see that I do it on my personal website. You can see how much money I spend on my personal life, and I just bring that over to the government because it'd be like an extension to me. Yeah. But that's kind of what Ron Paul's talking about. Auditing the Federal Reserve and find out what they're doing. He's the only one talking about that. So, what else? Yeah. And also, as far as the integrity thing, hell, he's been married to the same woman since high school. 76 years old, been 12 terms in Congress. Knows what he's doing. He's incorruptible. He's had a straight, supposedly, I haven't actually looked at myself, but supposedly he has like a totally consistent voting record. He doesn't flip-flop on anything. You know what he believes. And he's never been bought out by anybody. He actually talks about it, and he talks about corruption in the system in a way that's believable. He's like, nobody's tried to offer me money, but yeah, these people. And then how about this new NCAA bill or NDAA, National Defense Authorization Act? Somebody asked him, and maybe I'll attach it to the end of this video. Somebody asked him what he thinks about it, and he goes, yeah, that's bad. And he actually explained what it is. That the government can, the president can assassinate American citizens because they're suspected to be part of terrorist organizations just because they like visited a site or because they went to a mosque or something, then they would be like, it could get apprehended by the military and then executed without a trial or a lawyer. And yeah, then that's really bad. But that the president really wanted it, and he signed it, and these guys made it, but he's not for that, and he's the only one of the candidates who I see saying that. Yeah, and like one of the guys who asked him the question goes, no, but I asked. He was in one of the forums giving a speech. He goes, no, but I asked my congressman, and my congressman said that wasn't for American citizens. And Ron Paul goes, no, that's written for American citizens. And he's like, what? My congressman would lie? And then everybody like laughed. Ha ha ha! Of course they would lie. So yeah, Ron Paul, he's like an actual person. He's like an honest guy. Everything he says, it's totally out of the box. It's totally it's not what our current policy is. He wants to do trade with Cuba. He wants to bring all the troops home, the ones in Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Germany, Korea. He wants to get rid of all of these laws with all these little reduce the size of the government so that they can't be, I mean, he's talked a lot of negativity about the TSA patting people down. He's the only one I've talked to. He gets on Alex Jones. He said on Alex Jones' radio show a couple weeks ago, I heard it out of Ron Paul's mouth, that he thinks that whole attempted assassination of the Iranian ambassador was a red flag, a false flag operation by the government. Woo! I mean, that was some ballsy thing to say. Could you imagine hearing one of like Romney say that? And it's pretty clear to me that kind of stuff is what's going down. I mean, they want to go in. And Ron Paul actually is saying that there might actually, that it's an actual distinct possibility. I heard him in his speech that we could actually go into Iran. It's still something that people want and that it might happen. So if we get, Bachmann in there, if we vote her in, yay, get the woman in there, and we attack Iran, imagine how much money that's going to cost us. How are we going to pay for that? Print more money? We're out of money. That's what Ron Paul says. We're broke. So, and he says he can save $1 trillion in 1 year. $1 trillion. And it makes sense to me. If you nuke all the 5 programs, they ain't doing shit. And if you can make it so that people can live cheaply, and he was even talking about this himself, like, inflation happened, people didn't actually, yeah, well, he made $3 an hour, I guess, when he was first a doctor. But anyways, if people can live cheaply, right, and not have to worry about breaking laws and then getting fined, and then which would jack up their living expenses by getting busted and having to pay a fine. If you can live really cheaply, you don't need money. You don't need a job. There could be, the government fires all these people from the 5 departments and the military and all this stuff. Oh my God, all these unemployed people. Well, the government has more money now. What are this government going to spend money on? They were spending money on that. Now they can hire new people doing different things. Our bridges are crumbling. Our roads are crumbling. That takes people. We could develop a renewable energy infrastructure. That takes people. But we shouldn't think that happy people depend on having money. If it's legal for people to sleep in a car on the side of the road within the city limits, you can live without a job. You can be homeless and be perfectly happy. You can poach the internet of Safeway in the parking lots and the Starbucks, or go into the library. You could eat canned fruits and vegetables, and then you're going to be using a lot less resources in the world, and not gobbling up the resources of the world to try to keep some consumeristic world going, just to keep the wheels turning and the jobs going, to keep people like happy by mulching up the world, that's not sustainable. We need to like, and you know, as an individual myself, I didn't really talk about this. I just did a video like why I live in my van, and I didn't talk about this at all. I was only talking about my history timeline, but I should make another video about that. But when you live in a van and you don't, the only thing you eat is fruits and vegetables, and like the only thing you do is work on your computer and work out, and you don't like drive anywhere, you don't do anything else other than that, it's a really fulfilling life. It's all you need. Think about how all the caveman did was sleep, trap a rabbit, eat some flour or whatever, and then he'd go to bed, and same thing again. They were happy. Now look at all the luxury I live in. I've got my castle here. Yay, living in my castle. Look at all the food I've got. I've got the berries, and I've got the, you know, this, that, and the next thing. So, yeah, living good. So, yeah, we don't need the jobs. We need to just stop spending the money. Yeah, bring those troops back. We don't need to attack other countries in order to have security. We need to strengthen our own defenses. So, yeah, anyways, you know, and when I hear him talk, I'm like, oh, wow, tell me more about this comedy. It's like he's like a professor. And that's the kind of person we need in there. I mean, seriously, get Ron Paul in. And I think Ron Paul, I mean, it's interesting. It's going to be really interesting about what's going to happen as he gets more and more popular. I did a vlog the other day, and I got all drunk, and I was like, fuck, yeah, I can't believe this. And the reason I got pissed off about somebody, when he walked out of the interview, I thought people were attacking him, because it's just like Fox News, they try to do like personal attacks on him, and the only thing that they can do is like stuff. It's funny, they can't accuse him of anything real. All they can accuse him of is like 30 years ago, somebody in his like campaign sent out some pamphlets that said something that may appear to be racist, and he didn't even remember that at all. You know, like, and then some other lady was trying to get him on doing some kind of character assassination on him, because somebody who claimed to be a Ron Paul supporter said that they would rather have sex with Perry than Romney, and he didn't even know anything about that. And it's like, that's all they got. What about all these other guys like Newt Gingrich, who's been married all these different times and has flip-flopped and has been on like every side of all the issues, and Herman Cain, who doesn't seem to even be able to communicate. I mean, they asked him if he was pro-life or pro-choice, and he goes, I believe that the government should stay out of it. That it's the woman's choice, that the government should stay out of it. Because I like life. And the guy's like, wait, are you pro-life? And anyway, at the end of the day, it took him a while to figure this out, but you know, Herman Cain was like, no, I think abortion should be illegal. So, I'm like, whoa, dude. Yeah, so we got some people in there, people he's going against. It's like, come on, yeah. And if some people think, well, he's not electable against, if he's not as electable against Obama as other people, he has a really wider range of any Republican I've ever seen. I mean, I've always been a lifelong Democrat, and I just registered Republican because I want to see Ron Paul in there. All of the, you know, you got crazy fundamentalist Christians who are Ron Paul fanatics, you know, because he's into the freedom, and that's what they're into. But then you've got the hippies, the liberals, pot-smoking hippies who want to vote for Ron Paul. You know, and then the pro-life Christians, and like, yeah, libertarians and Democrat defects and all. Yeah, if Ron Paul up against Obama, definitely, I think he is a future president. And you know, if I don't get to vote from the Republican primaries, at least I made my video of support for Ron Paul. Vote for Ron Paul. And I feel kind of dumb that I didn't register Republican to vote for Ron Paul 4 years ago. But we're ready for the personality of Ron Paul. Somebody who talks the way that he does. Has an education personality. Fast talking. Clear speaking. Educated. Old. And knowledgeable, connected, but not connected in a like a lobbyist type of a way, but connected in like a been around forever kind of a way. Knows his stuff instead of what everybody was into 4 years ago when they were into the black dude who was like talked like he had his integrity. Because where there's a will, there's a way. Dare for audacity, because we're ready for change. Not same old politics as usual. You know, and then he gets up and he's president and he gives the same old speech over and over again. But then you see what he actually does and he's George Bush #2. You know, attacking all the marijuana dispensaries and, abortion. Obama signed a law against outlawing a pill that keeps the ovary from being created because now they're considering the ovary to be a human being. Obama did that. Obama also outlawed inhalers. Now I have to get a prescription for an inhaler. What the fuck? I don't even have a job. How am I going to pay some doctor $150 just to have a month-long prescription of inhaler? Every month I have to go pay some doctor $150 just so I can fucking survive? Because I can't even buy the Advair because they outlawed those little puffy inhalers. Just because it's bad for the environment because of the puffy. It's like invent something that has the same ingredients that is like an Advair that you just suck and it just has the powder that goes in. You know? Because nobody has the pills, the asthma pills. I'm fucked. I'm like worried, dude. It's going to go out at the end of the year. Oh my God, I should buy one now. I'm like, Yeah, he did that. Obama. We need to stop with the regulations and let people be free, man. So yeah, Ron Paul, dude. Ron Paul all the way. And that's just off the top of my head. I'm going to know a lot more next month because I've only started to do this stuff. But it's like so obvious. So obvious. But anyways, I'm really interested in the future about what's going to happen with Ron Paul in terms of how he's portrayed in the media. You know, the media has been ignoring him. He wins. I saw that Daily Show thing with Jon Stewart on YouTube where like Ron Paul got third and they're like, yeah, look who got second and then he even beat #4 and they totally ignored him. And then he like won and they're like, yeah, but then our front runner Perry is #2 and they didn't even #3 and #4 and don't forget Santorum and like Ron Paul, you see him up there in #1. They never mentioned him, totally ignoring him because especially Fox News, not just Fox but the other ones, but yeah, Fox. I'm interested to see in the future what becomes of Fox because Fox is starting to get more and more people are starting to realize more and more that Fox isn't really news. It's just, it's a propaganda channel with a bunch of like angry people, like calling the Occupy Wall Street people a bunch of retarded kids. I heard Ron Paul actually say, he's like, how come you won't go on Bill O'Reilly anymore? He's like, Bill O'Reilly, he's not a reporter. It's funny. Yeah, he's just an angry guy who gets up there and likes to like call people, morons, because they're traitors, saying ridiculous, retarded stuff. Bill O'Reilly said that Julian Assange was a traitor. Julian Assange isn't even American. You have to be a countryman to be a traitor. Julian Assange was doing this stuff, exposing documents in America. He's fucking Australian. Yeah. So anyways, I'm curious, I'm looking forward, and, I was angry the other day. I was angry because I was drunk. It was stupid, but it's going to be funny. I'm, like, looking forward to, seeing these people do crazy shit. Because what they're going to do, Fox News and stuff, they're going to start to accuse Ron Paul of being that which they are. That's what crazy bad people do. They, like, if they're lying and they can't give you a straight answer, they hear that they're accused of doing that because they are that. And then so they go, oh, okay. And so then they use that on the other people. They go, yeah, you can't give me a straight answer. So yeah, there's going to be like Fox News people interviewing him, and then like other people like Ron Paul, the guy who can't give a straight answer, he's a flippy floppy because he flippy floppied about, and they're going to give some like totally like ridiculous thing, and it's going to be funny, man. They're just going to be like drawing for straws. They're going to be like desperate, saying stupid, ridiculous stuff. But anyways, I hope he should watch his ass. I don't think he should have like a good security team around him, because they could try to kill him, They do that stuff. They killed Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, I think, wasn't it like 12 hours after he won the Democratic nominee to be president, and it became like apparent, obvious that he was the next president, and he had the same ideas that his brother John F. Kennedy had. So then next thing you know, he got assassinated. And how about John F. Kennedy? He got shot by somebody. It's obvious, common knowledge, that he got shot by somebody in front of the car. But everybody believed the government when they said that Harvey Oswald did it, when Harvey Oswald was at 5 o'clock, directly behind the guy, dude. You can see the video of his skull flying directly behind him, 20 feet. A huge chunk of his actual bone of his skull you could eat cereal out of. Directly behind. How could that happen? And then little Jackie O. Kennedy running back on the hood trying to grab the skull before it flew off by the wind. Connolly, the governor, got shot in the chest by a bullet that came directly in front of the car. My grandfather was friends with Connolly, and he actually told my grandfather, yeah, that bullet hit me in the chest, man. Hit me in the chest from the front. But everybody's like, yeah, Lee Harvey Oswald, the guy who killed John F. Kennedy 3 times, and with that rocket, that thing you can only load once, from like 5 o'clock. Everybody's like, yep. So what I think Ron Paul should do, so he doesn't get assassinated, because if he does get assassinated, the way that people think, even if everybody knows he gets assassinated, they're just gonna be like, oh yeah, it was like Abdul Murabit. Oh man, that Abdul Murabit. Killing our guy who's our president. Oh well, who's next? What Ron Paul should do is he should watch his ass, number one, but he should get Jesse Ventura to be his running mate. Because then they wouldn't want to kill Ron Paul, because then they'd have Jesse Ventura as the president. Yeah, man. He should get somebody just as radical as him. It's like, people be like, what the hell are you doing getting him as your running mate? He'll be like, it's my choice, ain't it? It's written in the Constitution. But yeah, he actually knows what the Constitution is. With that whole NDAA Act, he explained how it's against the Constitution. And so, yeah, Ron Paul, man, I think I babbled long enough. Ron Paul, dude. Booge.